And we're live.
Welcome to Fight Stories. I'm Tyler Morrison here with John Moses. We get another little powwow. Are you allowed to say that? I don't know. John, you're native. I think we get the pass.
I could say powwow, buddy.
Buddy,
You can't.
I don't get the native pass.
No.
Everyone's getting the passes these days. You got Kanye's got the swastika pass.
Yeah.
He's got autism now, so he's got the tard card.
The tard card. Yeah.
You can say
you
whatever
can make
you
that
want,
pass.
right?
You can, yeah. If you immigrate here to America, then you can say whatever you want. But you still live in the land of the tongue tied.
Hey, I think we're even because the Chiefs beat me the other night in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, they did, right?
Yeah. You guys got your reparations.
Oh yeah.
Oh
so
yeah.
So you lost some bread.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot, but I definitely made a bunch of different bets, thinking that the Chiefs might show up. I was thinking it would be a close game. I thought the Chiefs would win in a close one. Eagles are obviously a great team, so it really was up in the air. It was a sort of a pick 'em going into it, and then the boys just didn't show up, man. I thought for sure.
Do you think they got cocky? Like this is we've been here 3 times. Like it was like a little bit of a foregone conclusion for them.
I don't really know because it was just they just didn't show up. You see Travis Kelsey walking in, got his little hot shot suit on, got a big old booze head on him. He's been dining out on that Eras Tour buffet backstage.
Yeah. It was hilarious.
I love
win,
Kelsey,
lose or draw. He was going dancing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He shows up looking like Billy Charles Boy from Flapshot.
Yeah.
On like a little runway model.
Yeah.
And
At this point, we can agree that Taylor Swift is probably dressing him. It's like remember when Brady started rolling around in UGG outfits? You're like, oh, buddy, this guy has lost all say.
Yeah, it happens from time to time, and that was sort of, you would think they've got the swagger and they've won. They definitely have the ability to win these Super Bowls, but I mean, they got punished.
I know, man. I was and the week 2 weeks before, when Philly just steamrolled Washington, I was like, oh man, that was another slacking. It was like 40-something, 50-something. That score ran all the way up,
Yeah, well, they have. I mean, and the other thing is Saquon Barkley is so dominant as a running back that I think maybe it just took everything that they had to contain him, and that just left other options wide open. Everyone's just focusing on stopping this one powerhouse. But it just seemed like Mahomes wasn't protected.
Man, he got hit at one point. It was the one where he got his face pushed and his arms just went limp. I was like, oh no, they spaghetti armed him.
Oh yeah.
I was like, get him out of the game at this point,
Do you think Roseanne Barr watched that game and was pretty pleased seeing Darlene get punished like that?
Yeah.
How dare you turn against me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My favorite.
I think I lost every single bet, including to the color of the Gatorade. I lost.
You can bet what color the Gatorade is?
Yeah, I was guessing purple because it was like better odds, I think, or not better, more of a long shot, but it ended up being yellow, dude. So
yeah.
So yeah, that's how you get into degen mode on the Super Bowl. That's how you do it right.
Oh man.
We got to get some football players on the podcast to talk about some unnecessary roughness like off the field, because I mean football fights are always weak. On the field, it's just a bunch of pushing and face masking.
Yeah,
but I want to talk. I want to hear some of these dudes what they'd get into in the bars.
Oh, dude, it would just be a nightmare. Imagine a football team walking into one of these bars. It's just like like a one-sided roadhouse whipping.
Because these guys are monsters in real life. When I was at the Brady roast, these guys are there, and it's insane how big they are. They're so much bigger than some of these UFC guys. So you had Sean O'Malley was at the roast, and O'Malley is dwarfed by Gronk or Drew Bledsoe Brady's
Sure.
huge. Like, they're all just so tall, man. Like, it's crazy. Yeah, like I would love to hear about some of the fights that some of these dudes get in outside,
Yeah.
off
At what
field.
point does because they were saying the Philly offensive line, the average was like 6'6", 338.
Wow.
Like at what point, if you're a guy that weighs $160 and you're a killing machine, I mean, at what point does it matter? Does it stop mattering?
Yeah, it really
know?
is that. Yeah, that speed can kill, but all it takes is one from one of those guys to just club you. You know, it's like in a video game when you get hit by one of those dudes, the power meter just goes way back.
Yeah.
But you got to like little Mac 'em, like Mike Tyson punch
Yeah.
out, just little Mac pointing away.
But they just
Yeah.
lay on top of you. You're finished.
Yeah, you can't get hit. You got to kill them with speed, and you got to do them in probably the first 10 seconds.
I mean, I don't. Some of these guys, it's like, how do you even reach them?
I know, man. It is wild. So, yeah, if you guys know any football players that got, or you are a football player that's got some fights, we want you on the pod. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get it going, baby.
We'll take some Argos too. It doesn't got to be NFL.
Oh yeah, I don't give. Could be college football, like I don't.
Yeah. I picked up an Argo cheerleader. I picked up an Argo cheerleader one night, and you could tell she must have been ran through by the team because she had a. I picked her up at the club, and then we got outside of the club, and she had a little open sore on her mouth the size of a buffalo nickel. Oh, you're ready for a nice guy now, are you?
Yeah. Found the wrong guy.
Right.
Oh man, it was a good weekend for sports. I mean, obviously Super Bowl, but UFC on Saturday night. There's some good scraps.
Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, O'Malley and Duplessis was
Strickland.
Strickland, Sean Strickland and Duplessis.
Yeah.
Jesus. Strickland's an interesting guy because he's a big talker and he's a former champ.
Yeah.
He's not too far removed from being champion, but it's almost like he's.
I didn't see the fight. I just saw that picture of his nose, dude. Man. I mean, that's what you pay for, dude.
His nose exploded like a pizza pocket in the microwave for too long, man. It was, yeah. Jim Gaffigan was jerking off to that hot pocket explosion.
It's hard not to like the guy, like even if you totally disagree with what he says politically, it's hard not to like him, because he's like a real blue collar guy. He speaks his mind no matter what. You could be agreeing with him 1 second, and then he'll turn and stop on a dime and say something completely against whatever. Like, he's not just pandering to one cause. He's going out there and he's talking about what he believes in,
He is like CTE combating AI. Like, AI could never figure out how that human works.
Yeah.
The way his brain operates online. But Sean Strickland is funny. He's a menace. I love those guys. They create controversy,
Yeah. Give him something to talk about.
I think that sometimes these guys, and maybe I'm wrong, but sometimes these guys, when they have that singular focus of becoming a champion, right? That's been the only thing that's really kept them grounded the whole time. And if you look at Mike Tyson, it was kind of the same thing. They had that singular tunnel vision, become the champion. Well, once they reach that goal, what can they do after that? They kind of lose all, like, they can't handle the rest of their life. And now it's
it's like the third season of Eastbound and Down when he finally gets back on the mound, dude.
It is. And they, so Strickland was kind of like that because he's got all these obviously unresolved issues that he's talked about publicly, with his dad and all that type of stuff. And then, he loses that one thing that was keeping him on the straight and narrow, that drive to become the champion. Well, once you become the champ, obviously you got to defend it, but he's not thinking about defending it. He's thinking about becoming it. And then after that, it's like, he's dealing with all the other stuff starts creeping in. he goes a little bit off the rails. And these other fights, he just hasn't been the same guy that we saw kind of on the build-up.
Well, how did he win though? Wasn't he like a last-minute replacement?
He beat Israel Adesanya, and he put on a real nice fight. Like he outclassed Israel in that fight for sure.
He did, but it was almost like, but it's almost like he had a puncher's chance.
Yeah, and Izzy was sort of maybe losing his heart at that time, like, or like having some. I don't like the term "losing your heart." That's not true. That's not the term, but
also started to reach that age, dude, where he's
on the back.
Physically, you're on that decline where all it takes is to be a half second slow,
or even mentally. Izzy losing to Pereira, that starts to wear on you, and then it's Those are tough fights mentally to prepare for, and so Strickland, who isn't as taxing of a mental preparation for a guy like Izzy, maybe he just fought too many times in a short period type thing. But not to take away from Strickland winning, because Strickland becoming the champion, beating Izzy, is no small accomplishment. But Strickland, after that, he put up a pretty good fight against Duplessis. He puts up a good fight against most people. The way that he defends, he's an unorthodox style. Watching Strickland fight is sort of like watching a guy box a kangaroo. He's got the old-timey John L. Sullivan stance.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. He's less of a polished fighter than some of these other guys, but he's all heart and a hammerhead.
No, I think he is polished. He's just got a different style. It's like it's a little bit more Muay Thai, I guess. I don't know. Hey, Andors, how's it going, man? We got our guest just jumped in. Welcome.
How you doing? I'm homesick. I'm glad we get to do this through Zoom.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, nice.
We got stayed in an Airbnb. The guy had 2 cats, so I'm allergic. It was really comfortable,
We were talking about that UFC fight Saturday night about Strickland.
I just saw it.
Popped. Yeah,
I just saw it. What do you think? Pretty good, but pretty. I mean, it was. I'm not a fan of either of them. I haven't followed it that much lately, to be honest.
Right.
But it was pretty close. I mean, I don't know.
It was a good fight.
Yeah.
It was a good fight. He turned it up. Duplessis turned it up in the end. In that last little run, he was putting it on to make sure that he secured the finish, because I think he knew Strickland wasn't going down. When he broke his nose, he thought he had him, and he had to pull back so he didn't empty the tank.
Yeah, I'm surprised how well he kicks, because he seems like he's knock-kneed. You know what I mean? I'm just surprised his legs go up so coordinated, because he's got like a knock-knee kind of look.
Yeah.
All right.
If you notice, I kind of got the Steven Seagal closed knee run going.
Here, so let me bring you in proper, because you just popped in on this thing. All right. So Andor just sort of popped in mid conversation. So let me give you your due. Very good friend of mine. The only person who put money in the envelope when he showed up at my wedding. All the rest of the comedians skunked out. They're like, "Yo, bro,"
and I'm Jewish, by the way. So that
that's right.
To go against
everybody else, like, bro, we traveled to get here. It's like, buddy, you didn't fly to L.A. You came down the turnpike.
Who doesn't travel for a wedding? Who doesn't travel for a wedding? What if people are used to going to weddings in their own building? You know what I mean? Everybody travels for a wedding.
I didn't know a wedding in Newark is considered a destination wedding.
Yeah. So my good buddy Jason Andors, been doing comedy for a good long time. Bad Boys of Comedy before we all knew about Diddy. BT back in the day.
I would have still taped it, bro. I would have still taped it. Fuck that.
He could have been doing that backstage, and you would have been.
Dude, he basically used oil on us then by paying us $500 to tape that shit. You know what I mean?
They use the same cameras from the Freak Off.
Yeah.
Just pubes on the lenses. Yeah. All right. I won't list everything else. Jason Andors is an internet sensation.
That's a good way to stop when my credits ended anyway. You're like, I'm almost the rest. You like finish all my credits.
No, you had Comedy Central.
I got Comedy. All right, yeah.
But I was gonna say,
Mentored by Usher.
Jason Andors is an internet sensation, but only in the country of the Dominican Republic.
With Dominicans everywhere.
With Dominicans everywhere, right? But for the Dominican people, his AKA, his pseudonym, his other identity is El Tigre Vacano.
El Tigre Vacano.
Yes,
got the shirt. I'm not trying to promote it or anything.
No,
right,
we don't do
right.
that on
And
this show. That's
Nah.
And it's a very tight shirt.
Yeah.
So you're in New York now, but you're in the Dominican. What do you think? Like, you split your time up half and half at this point?
Nah, I mean, I'm doing a lot of the cruises. I don't mean to brag, but I'm performing on a lot of ships, so
More
I'm away
credits.
a lot on that. And then when my free time, I split pretty much between New York and DR.
Right.
I wish
But
I could be in
eventually
both more. What do you say?
But eventually, that's right. But you just mean not working the cruises as much, right?
Right. Just social media. Like, I wish I could make, I was always doing it just for the love of doing it, just the attention and loving DR. I always went to DR
crazy.
before the social media. So this going viral there was just a bonus.
And you were doing that just to have sex with good-looking young women who needed opportunities.
At first, ass always inspires everything for us men. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Spanish school, like, I went to school for ass. Like, first I visited my cousin in DR. My cousin's a bachatero. It's Dominican music. He plays guitar. He's pretty known out there. And he's half Puerto Rican,
But wait, that's not the only thing he does. He's also a doctor.
Right. Yeah, he's a doctor. That's how he pays to stay there.
But he's a doctor in America, and he moonlights as a musician sleazeball in the Dominican Republic.
Well, he plays music out in the DR. He always loved Dominican music, and he went to this famous artist, Raulín Rodriguez's concerts. He had his guitar with him, and Raulín said, "Hey, you play?" He said, "Yeah." So he brought him on stage, and he ripped it. So he's like, "Come back tomorrow." And he came back, and he ripped it again. So he brought him on tour, and he never let anyone play guitar except himself with his music. So my cousin was the first person he let play guitar besides him. And then he started playing with really famous Dominican musicians. And when I went out to visit him in 2005, I didn't speak any Spanish. I spoke nothing because, like, growing up in New York City, I always loved Latina women. Ever since this Latina Dominican girl in third grade, she had like an adult ass already in the third grade, Yeah, and so I was like, I always loved it, but
she was held back like 6 times, so there's still...
Yeah. So I, all the Latinas in my neighborhood spoke English, so I didn't need to do my homework. I was horrible in school. I'm like, thank God I don't need to do homework for ass,
right.
And it wasn't until I went to visit him in 2005 where I realized, like, most of the Latinas in the world, like, a lot of them don't speak English, the hot ones. I met this girl on the beach in Boca Chica, and she was gorgeous, and my cousin had to translate for me, had to get her number for me, had to call her for me, and he probably fucked her for me too, because he's a good dude, right? So I came back to New York, and I signed up for Spanish school right away, and I went every day. I canceled gigs. I wasn't doing weekend gigs for a year and 3 months. Not like I was doing many weekend gigs then anyway. But anyone I got, I canceled. I was purely into my Spanish. And I started meeting women online and started going back and forth to DR. And then, I'd have like so many numbers. And then I would go back and forth and texting, and I'd learn Spanish like that.
So you would learn Spanish, right, picking chicks up. I thought you've been taking it for longer, but I mean, I guess it's been 20 years now. But like,
I should be way better. I should be way better.
So you know what? It must have been 10 years ago when we were meeting up, like, across the street from where you lived, and like right at that spot.
Which spot?
Because you were already, you were already well into Spanish school. But like, in my head for the timeline, like, remember that brief window when we both thought I was going to blow up?
Yeah.
There was like 3 months there where
for
like,
a couple of days. You were in the cellar, and like you had a manager for like 3 days. Yeah, you were doing good.
CAA, was sending me around like for a blink of an eye.
Yeah, I was like, I'm riding Moses's tail, bro. You know what I mean?
Old Moonlight Johnny.
You got to keep that.
So, have you seen any fights in the DR? Because the DR is like,
Dude.
it's wild, right?
Well, no, the DR. Honestly, I feel safer in the DR than New York. I have to be honest.
Right now.
Look, New York's safer to walk around at night because you got police out there. Stores are open all the time. Doormen are everywhere. Overall, especially Manhattan, you know what I mean? It's just safer overall. But because it's safer, we leave at night. And because we leave at night feeling safe, we put ourselves in danger constantly. Like the train is ridiculous. DR, you don't leave at night. You don't walk around at night. It's just you don't do it.
Oh, really?
You take an Uber, you drive, you arrive to your location, you go back. If you know how to do things correctly in DR, it's safer than here.
So it's like as the sun's going down, are you in the DR and you're like in Spanish though? You're like, we better get
why
inside.
is this Uber not responding? You're having a panic attack. Yeah, because I had a situation where I was dropping this girl off. I put her in an Uber. I went to a mall in like kind of a hoodie area, right? Basically, because I knew I want a lot of people in the hood recognize me, so I wanted to get recognized in front of her. So I brought her to the mall. So we leave as it's closing. There's nothing else open around. So I put her in an Uber, and I can't call 2 Ubers. You know, until I need to wait till she arrives at home. You know, and I think it looked like she was stopping off at different places, like using the hell out of my Uber, you know? So it's taking forever. There's no
doing
one
her
around.
errands.
Yeah, she's doing everything, bro. You know, she was like, half a mile away. I think it was a $40 Uber. So I go, and I find
her mom was
cab.
probably the Uber driver, so they were like going for dinner. They were doing everything.
Yeah. So I see there's other cabs waiting outside. I asked the guy how much to get to Bija Meja, where I was staying at my cousin's. And he said a certain amount. Let's say he said it's not just cheap. You know, I was being so cheap in this situation. I think he said $8, right? It's like a 40-minute drive. Ubers are cheap as hell out there, you know. So I said, well, the Uber said it was like $5.50. He's like, well, it's my cab. It's $8. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just gonna wait for another Uber. Like I don't want because I feel like I'm the gringo. They call the Americans like the gringos. They're always trying, you know, they feel like they could get a little over on us. And,
of course. I feel that everywhere I go, I'm getting white prices.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm feeling like at this point, I'm so Dominican there, I feel disrespected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I might look gringo, but I'm from Bija Meja. Like, I'm so delusional at this point. I really think I'm Dominican. So
you're like, yo, you don't do this to me.
Yeah. I'm furious. And so he's like, I'll do it for $7 or something, right? So I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So we get in the cab and we go there and then we get to the destination and he's like, I go to pay him. He's like, yo, I got to charge you at least the 8. I said, what do you mean? He said, it's further than I thought. I said, further than you thought? I said, you said you're from around here. Like, you know exactly how far this trip was. He's like, no, boom, boom, boom. And then I gave him the money he asked for angrily and I left his car. But I slammed the door harder than I wanted to. I was angry, but I didn't mean to slam it. But when I heard that door slam, like slamming a Dominican's car, that's their everything. Like Dominicans use new oil every week in their car. You know, in their food stand, they might use oil every like 3 years. But in the car, like you're better off eating your food cooked on a car engine out there, you know? So by me slamming the car, I walk out, I'm like, oh no, this is not good. He got out, he was probably 6'6" to 6'8". You know, he was super tall. A lot of Dominicans aren't that tall. He was super, it was like a joke. I almost wanted to laugh at how big this guy was.
Yeah, he was probably a fraud like you. He's not from there either.
Yeah, maybe. Right. Right. He's just straight up from Brooklyn. Right. And so he's like, you motherfucker, you slammed my door, I'll fucking kill you. And I'm trying to stand there, look a little tough. I'm just standing there. You know, I'm good at bluffing because growing up in the Upper West Side, I got mugged a lot. We're going to talk a lot about that. You know, straight up bitch shit. You know what I mean? But I was definitely a victim growing up. But I learned how to bluff. I was really good at bluffing. And remind me to tell some bluff stories that I did in this smoothie shop. I forgot to write that down. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
So I get out and I'm just standing there staring at him, but kind of a pussy bluff. Like I wasn't saying shit really back, but I was just kind of staring like whatever. And I knew there was a security guard in front of my cousin's area in the stand. It was a little like, he was like a 70-year-old dude, but they all have shotguns, right? So
Oh
he's
my
walking
God.
towards me, and I'm like just standing there looking, pretending to look tough, just thinking, come on, man, come out of that little thing. Do your once every 10-year job. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
come out of that thing with and my dream came true. He walks out with the
Yeah.
shotgun. That shotgun, they have it. I think they have one bullet in that motherfucker, right? He walks out with the shotgun. He's like, yo, in Spanish, like, get the fuck out of here. And the guy was so angry. He just stood there, I'll fucking kill you. And this was beginning of Tiguere Vacano. I don't think he knew me at this point.
Yeah.
I was just starting to get my recognitions, So luckily he didn't know who I was. And he was so angry. He slammed his door, getting back in the car, like louder than I slammed it. That's how angry he was. Like he was willing to ruin his own car. And he left, and the dude just saved me. And I tipped him like $20 and felt like I tipped him like 1,000,
Yeah, you ended up spending an extra 20 to save one because of the disrespect. Yeah. Dude, when I first moved to Brooklyn, I mean, you know me, dude. I stay road raging, and I got into it with this
even when you're not in a car.
Oh, I don't even know if I was in a car. No, I was because
Right.
I was parking, and the guy was double parked, and he wasn't. So I'm like hammering the horn, and at this UPS driver, he gets out. He is straight up built like Lennox Lewis. And
That's a weird type of build because he's kind of not that intimidating, but he got
I mean, like, dude, the guy's like 6'6", 250,
tall, lanky.
Right? Yeah, I got.
You know,
Yeah.
And like you can see the shoulders, like he didn't
throw you
he looked
around
athletic.
stiff. Yeah.
Yeah. But I stepped right to him, and he was John, and I was John, and I was like, I knew that I was safe because he had his uniform on. I was like, go ahead. Like in my mind, I'm like, go ahead, hit me. I'll sue the whole goddamn company, right? I like, give me that UPS money,
Right. Yeah.
So
Funny.
yeah, so what was it? So how many times? Well, not how many times, but like, fuck it. How many times did you get mugged growing up in New York? Because you grew up in New York in like
Infinity.
but like in the late '80s. Were you a teenager in the late '80s?
I was a teenager, mid '80s to late '80s.
Mid '80s to late '80s. Like how
Yeah.
much tougher and grimier was New York back then?
It was very grimy, but it was better. It just had I feel in danger nowadays in some ways more. I just feel like there's so many more crazy people off their meds. Like back in the day, people had like proper mugging etiquette, like give me your bike or I'll stab you. They gave you like a choice, Like now it's just right to the stabbing. It's like, don't you want my
they
bike?
don't
Or I
even
just
want
want
the
to stab
bike.
the shit out of you.
Yeah, it's a city bike, dude. It's not even your bike. You know?
Yeah.
The bike is just the getaway vehicle.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, although I have a story about getting stabbed by screwdrivers, which, and they didn't ask me for my bike. So that was maybe that was when things started to change when I was like 22.
Right.
But, it was,
But so
it
you're
was
growing up. Let me ask you. In this point, is Times Square not the Times Square we know today with like all of like the chain restaurants and bright lights? Is that when it was all like Jack Shacks and prostitutes and pimps?
Yeah, Times Square was pure prostitutes, martial arts
I'm just
movies.
trying to paint a picture.
People
Right,
like
I'm
to
just
go see
trying to paint a
martial
picture
arts
for, like, the
movies
people.
and jerk off down there. You know what I mean? Sometimes do it,
Ah.
2 in 1.
The
But,
Foot Clan was on the come up.
The Foot Clan. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Times Square was definitely way sketchy. It's still sketchy, though. When you go to 8th Avenue, you still have some of that flavor. Because Port Authority is one of the worst places on the planet. You know what I mean? It's
Port Authority. It's really Port Authority. Like if you go into Port Authority, I guess that's a good like reference point. If you've been to New York and you've gone to Port Authority, like because you've taken the bus, or even Penn Station. Penn Station's a little grimy like that too.
Yeah.
New York was like that everywhere. It's not just the
Everywhere.
transportation hubs. Right.
Yeah. Everywhere. It was very dangerous. It gave New York a lot of flavor. I miss that flavor New York used to have. You
Right.
don't have to be there. You could do one night out. Like, let's go there. Let's see if we survive. Let's go to 42nd Street.
Right.
But I got mugged like often when I was a kid. It was just so repetitive. I expected it like all the time. Since I was like a little kid, like I guess the first time getting mugged, I don't remember. I mean, I got mugged 3 times by the same guy. That was when I was 15.
The three-peat.
Yeah,
The three
the same dude. I mean, it's a long ass story.
Eat
But,
your heart out, Mahomes.
Yeah, I was walking down Broadway on 85th Street, and I ran away from. I used to run away from home a lot, but I run away for like 2 hours and come back.
Yeah.
So I ran away from home that night, and I'm on 87th Street, and the building was taken down. They're doing construction, and I hear yo, like a friendly voice, and I know a lot of people in the neighborhood, so I'm turning around like, oh, good, someone to hang with, and I just see a gun facing right at me, right? And I'm like, motherfucker. And I'm like looking around. It's just a ghost town. Like no one anywhere. So he's like, come over here and I won't kill you. Right? And I'm like, fuck. And I just walk over like, like the bitch I am. I mean, I guess a lot of people would, right? What do you do?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. You run and hope he doesn't shoot you, I guess. I guess someone that's really like thuggy and like used to this shit would run thinking he's not going to shoot me right now.
Right. I mean, or if you're Kareem Green, you take the gun from the person.
Or if you're Kareem, you fight the guy, right? So I walk over to him. He puts the gun on my side, and he's walking with me, and he's just like, act like you know me. And I'm thinking, act like I know you. Like, why don't you remove the gun away from my waist and act like you know me, and I'll bring the money to your house later, So he's walking with me, and a couple walks by. And they're walking up towards Broadway, and I'm walking past them, trying to give them that look over, this guy has a gun on my waist. And they just look at me like, hey, how you guys doing? I don't know if they noticed he had a gun on my waist or they were just didn't notice, They walk right past me. We get to Riverside Park. We're in the park. It's like maybe 7 at night, but winter, so it's dark. He's like, yo, man, just listen to everything I do. Give me everything I ask for, and I won't kill you, because if you try to resist, I'm going to bring you in the park and I'm going to blow your fucking brains out, right? I'm like, cool, man, don't worry. So now I'm getting in bluff mode. I'm like telling him, like, dude, I want to relax him. I want him to think I'm not. He said, what are you going to tell your parents? Well, he says this at the end, but he's like, so I'm trying to relax him, and I'm saying like, yo, man, I understand why you're doing this, bro. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I used to do this shit too when I was a kid growing up in boys' homes and everything. And I know a lot of stuff about the streets because my good friends were in this gang called Zulu Nation and Rocksteady Crew. And I know all the New York gang stories and the inside knowledge of that. So I'm just like, yo, man, I said, yo, don't worry about like, I understand you're doing this. Like, I was adopted by this rich white family. You know what I'm saying? I hate this. They always give me like this gold chain right here. I had a little gold chain with like a Jewish star on it. And he's like, man, I don't want this. I never want this. My parents made me wear this shit. I don't want this shit, bro. You can have it. Like, I made him feel like he wasn't even robbing me. I'm like, you could have this, bro. And then I had like a little gold, I hate jewelry, but I had a little gold bracelet on. And like, and he's like, yo, you got any other gold? And that was worth something. So I tried to pull my coat sleeve up to cover it, but I missed it. And it was just glowing, And I'm like, yeah, you can have this shit too. I don't want this, right? He's like, oh, thanks, man. I'm like, no problem, bro. Then he's like, yo, what's up with the coat? And it was like 30 degrees out, and I just bought this winter coat.
No.
It was like a ski coat. I paid $300 for it in the fucking 80s.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Which is probably like a $600 to $800 coat. I said to him, dude, you could have this too. It's kind of cold out, but like whatever, it ain't worth shit. Like
you're starting to crack a little bit. Like, I mean, it is cold out.
Yeah. So I'm like, this ain't worth anything anyway. I'm like, they robbed me. I found out like they charged me like $79 for it. There's only $30 in the other stores, but you can have it. He's like, nah, just keep the coat. I'm like, that works.
Yeah, nice one.
Yeah. So I got the coat. So now we're hanging out. I'm like, dude, man, when I grew up in boys' homes and everything, I was the only white kid down with like Zulu Nation and all, and they used to send me out on missions to rob people. I'd stick up people. I was lucky I never got caught. The stuff they made me do, I was like hypnotized to do crazy shit. But luckily I survived that, man. I know where you're at, bro. I feel you, man. Like, I'm glad you can have this. I'm glad I could help out a little bit. I was totally making him comfortable, like trying not to get shot, right? We hung out for like an hour. It got to the point where we were both leaning on the car. He's wearing my gold chain. He got a Jewish star on, this big brother, right? He's got the Jewish star on, the thing. We're chilling. And he's starting to say it's getting kind of cold out. And that's where I'm like, we gotta go, because I don't want him to finally take my coat. You know what I mean? So he's like, what do you want to do, man? You still want to hang out or what? I'm like, I don't know, man. I guess we could go our separate ways. He said, what are you going to tell your parents? I said, I'll tell them like some short, like half white, half Asian, like dude robbed me or something, you know? Yeah, he was like a big brother. So I'm like, I'm making it sound totally different than him. He's like, all right, cool. So, and the dude looked like Tyson in a funhouse mirror. Like he was like crazy. He was crazy diesel.
He didn't even need the gun. Right.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
He could have robbed me with a flower. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm, we go our separate, right when he leaves, I dip up to Broadway. You know, I was a slow ass runner, but I ran pretty fast at the moment. I find a police car and I get in the back and we drive around to look for him and we didn't find him. Right.
Yeah.
So now I'm walking around with a few extra weapons on me, everything but a gun, you know? I had like a hammer on me, but I would carry a knapsack with like nails and instructions on how to build shit. So if they caught me with it, they'd think like, I'd say, look, I'm not carrying a legal weapon. I was going to build something. You know what I mean?
Build a treehouse in Central Park.
Yeah. I had everything. So I go to meet my friend at my friend Pete at this like cigarette store where we used to meet. They had video games in the back. So if one person was late, which was always me, the other person could play video games. So I go to the back. I actually got there early and I put my quarters on the video machine, right? And I'm watching and I look and I realize it's him playing the game. And this is months later. I'm like, oh no, motherfucker. So I go to grab the quarter like the cheap motherfucker I am. I should have just left, you know? Yes. And he follows my cheap hand to my face. He sees me and follows me outside. And he's like, yo, motherfucker, I know you got the cops on me that night. I should murder you right now, bro. I said, what are you talking about? I didn't get the cops on you, bro. He's like, yo, I just got out. They just arrested me. I just got fucking out, bro. And he showed me his paperwork for getting out of jail and everything. He's like, yo, man, but anyway, what's up with that watch? And I had a Swatch watch on. He's like, yo, yeah, I'll give you $5 for that watch, right? And I'm thinking, motherfucker, man. I'm like, yo, trying not to look like a bitch, but I know he's basically robbing me again. I was like, nah, man.
$5 for that watch?
Yeah.
The Jewish chain was really working for him, eh?
Yeah. You made him a Jewish superhero. So
gold star hip hop.
Yeah. So I then he said, yo, I'll give you 20 for the watch. And I'm thinking the watch was about 20. So I don't want to look like a bitch. But first I said, you robbed me already. I'm done with that shit, right? But then he offered me the 20. I'm like, all right, fuck it. Because I don't want to look like bitch. So I go to give him the watch as he's handing me the 20. And he tries to pull both back. And I pull the 20 out, right? So I felt kind of tough that I took that 20. You know what I mean? And now he goes back in the store. And he's bothering this kid in the back. Later on, I found out the kid told me that he showed him a gun and everything, right? So my friend comes back and bothers me. And my friend, wait, before this happened, I fucking trying. Oh, so I'm talking and he puts me in a sleeper hold. Oh, no, he leaves the store for a second, right? And the guy working there, I said, dude, this guy robbed me before with a gun. Please call the police. Please call the police. And the dude's like, well, I don't even want to do shit. And the guy comes in, he heard me say that. He puts me in a sleeper hold, right? And I freaked out in the sleeper hold. I was like a strong kid. I wasn't trained in wrestling or anything, but I was always a kid to get everyone to like headlocks. And I had this strength for my size. And look, when we finally got him arrested, he was only like a half a year older than me, but double my size, you know? So I twist out of the headlock, the hold, and push him into the chip stand. The whole thing, he half fell and the chip stand fell. Now he was super pissed. He's like, I'm going to fuck you up, motherfucker. Right? And at that moment, my friend Peter came in and he taps me, what's up? And he realized there was something going on. So he said, sorry, sir. Like he didn't know me. And he walks to the back. So now he's in the back, right? So now the guy doesn't know he knows me. I walk to the back and I tell him, dude, that's the guy. I said, I figured. I said, just go call my dad right now. Just call him, tell him what's up. Right? So he goes and calls my dad. Your dad
shows up and he gets robbed too?
Dude, my dad showed up, coked up everything. Like he was like, you know, like he was doing all that shit then. But 5 minutes later, the guy left the store. And so 5 minutes later, my dad shows up with a bat drenched in sweat and two like detectives in suits. You know, I found out they were detectives. And he's like, where the fuck is this motherfucker? right? And I'm like, I don't know. I said, guys, he said, they introduced me as cops. And I'm like, dude, he left, but I'll wait outside as bait. You guys just stand on the corner. I'll just stand outside. And this is how my dad got the detectives. He ran out of the apartment. It was like 3-4 blocks away, ran down the middle of Broadway in the street, screaming with the bat, trying to get pulled over by police or undercovers. And they actually pulled him over. And he told him what was up. And he brought him in there, right? That was some New York City shit right
dude,
there.
You get your sneaky shit from your dad.
Exactly.
Like all that planning and stuff, it's your dad, you know?
Yeah. So he goes in, and then the guy never comes back, right? So I'm like, motherfucker, now I got extra weapons, everything but a gun on me, all wherever I go. It was freaking me out because it reminded me when I saw the movie Juice, like that character Tupac in it, always like arriving and stalking. That's how I felt with this dude at this point. It was a nightmare.
It's menacing, dude. Just to have like a bully when you're a kid, like a neighborhood bully, you're always thinking about him. You know, he's always in the back of your mind, you know?
Constantly. The guy finally, this is months later, I'm walking down the street and I swear I saw him peek around the corner. We run into Love Discount Store, I remember. And I tell him to peek out, see if they see him. They're like, well, we don't see anyone. I'm like, maybe I was seeing things, hoping. We walk up to 86th Street and I see him and I'm like, oh, fuck, that's him. And my friend's like, nah, this looks like some Irish dude or something. I'm like, Irish dude?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I should have trusted my vision because I had good vision. He did it.
Yeah.
It's him. He shows up. I'm with this other guy, Rob, I know. I just told Rob the whole story too. He shows up, he's like, what's up, motherfuckers? Now I got you, motherfuckers, right? And he looks at Rob, he's like, what the fuck are you looking at? And Rob said, nothing, right? And then the other guy said something, and he said, what's your name? My friend told him his name because he was so nervous. And his house, his apartment was right there. So I said, dude, let's go in. So we go into Rob's building, and I grab, my friend keeps walking. I said, where are you going, bro? Come in. So we went in, we ran upstairs. I grabbed a chin-up bar. He grabbed another weapon. We go downstairs like we're going to fight, right? We were tough as hell until we got out of that elevator and got to the front of the lobby. Now we're peeking out of the building like to see if he's there.
Yeah.
Right? Because I called the cops.
Like the
I picked that, and I called the cops. I told them to meet me on 86 and Broadway. I see a car pull up. It looked like such an undercover car. On the way it pulled up, I run down to Broadway. I just open the car door. They pull out. And they're like, yo, I said, no, it's me. I called you guys. Like, dude, you can't just run in a cop car like that. You know what I mean? So they almost were going to shoot my ass for just running in the car.
Right.
And then I see him because he was walking across the street. He tried to hide in one of those phone booths where you can see your legs. I'm like, those are his legs. And they grab him and throw him against the car. And he's looking at me. And I was so relieved. They bring him to the police station. My dad came down to the police station. He was so fucking relieved. He goes, hey, can I talk to him for a second? They let him talk to him, right? Like from the distance. And you can see through the glass, the guy starts crying.
Yeah.
I said, Dad, what'd you say to him? He said, I said, basically, don't go to sleep in prison because your ass is going to get fucking penetrated, you know? And I'm like, damn. Because my dad was freaking out over this. He was stressed too, like me.
Yeah.
And the guy ended up doing like couple of years. He only turned 16 that day. I was still 15. And he did a couple of years in juvie. And then I heard later he did like 7 more years in prison. And
oh, wow. He's totally getting rape boners.
Maybe. Yeah. So
now he's out and he subscribes to Fight Stories on Patreon.
Yeah. And he's going to straight up murder me now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of our biggest fans.
He's probably a gay dude. He's found his fucking calling. He's happy, you know?
Yeah, maybe. I'd probably get along with him though. You know, I always ended up getting along with the people that bullied me or, later on in life. I got mugged by someone I knew, on the way to my psychologist. And on 89th in Amsterdam, I see him. I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? And he's with this other dude. He's like, yo, just keep walking, bro. Keep walking. And the dude fucking was like, starts patting me. I'm like, dude, what the fuck's going on? He's like, dude, he's crazy. It's my boy, but I'll pay you back. Just go with it. I'm like, go with it. And he robbed me for my half fare, my bus fare, and my bus pass, my half fare bus pass. And I had to walk to my therapist. I showed up like a half hour later. That's all we talked about. The whole extra half hour is how do you feel about getting robbed on the way here. I'm like, I'm getting robbed for $200 from your ass right now.
Yeah. Did you
Talk
set this
about
up?
this. Yeah.
How old?
Yeah.
How old are you when this is happening?
That was in 7th grade.
So you had a therapist in 7th grade?
Yeah, because I was failing everything in school, so my mom thought that would help. I only went twice.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
You got robbed on one of the. Was the time you got robbed the last time you went, or the first time?
I think that was the second time. Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah, not at all, bro. But by someone I knew.
Man.
I know the dude. I'm cool with the dude, you know? And his brother protected me a lot when I was a kid. His older brother was like a tough dude. Dude, Albie would fucking fight slow. He was diesel, like wine looking dude, but he would fight slow, but his punches would always land. I don't know how, but and he would fight, like he jumped into a pile like 10 guys once. He lost that fight, but he didn't care. There was a famous Wing Chun guy that everyone studied from in Sheep's Meadow. This like hippie looking dude. Everyone talked like, that was in the days before UFC where people believed that all the internal martial arts and everything works.
Yeah.
So everyone studied with him and wasted all their time,
Yeah.
And then this guy had beef with Albie one day in the meadow. I wasn't there for this, but it was everyone that was there. So, it's a story it's not a myth. It's like a real thing that happened. And he was like, got in Albie's face. Albie always had a beer, a big beer, and he was like drinking. And the guy was like, you don't want none of this. It's some Wing Chun pose. And Albie, with his arm open, just punched him and knocked him straight out and went back to drinking the beer. And I'm sure that guy's students all quit. You know what I mean? That guy had to get a day job.
Yeah, that cost him a career.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, that was the.
Let me just blow my nose off camera. I'm sick for you guys that don't remember the start of the podcast now.
Yeah, you're good.
There was a guy at my high school he was the security guard at the plaza where all the kids would hang out, and he was walking around. He had like a Doberman on a chain, and he'd like trying to scare the shit out of all the kids. Just a big
really
dude,
embraced
right?
it.
Yeah. And this guy Mark Jackson at our school, he was in probably 12th grade, and he was a big dude. He squared up with the security guard, and the security guard was like, "Do you want a broken nose?" And he looks at him and goes, "Do you want a broken nose?" And he just breaks the security guard's nose in front of the whole school. Everyone's going wild. He smoked the security guard. The next time we see the security guard, he's like working, like digging a ditch, and we're driving by in our school bus, and all the kids are flipping him off, laughing at him.
By the way, I just missed the beginning of the story. But whatever. Yeah.
But no, it basically knocked him out of his career.
Yeah, put him out of a job. Yeah, and then we
had a hall monitor at our high school, but like he was not tough at all. He was just like, he looked like a deadhead. And like now looking back at it, we're just like, oh, that was just like some loser who could probably only get that job,
Right.
Like he would lose a fight to any man, and probably 40% of the kids in the school,
Sounds like a pretty sick job, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many stories. I don't know where to go for the
So like you talked about like Zulu Nation, and so what were some of the fights that you saw in and around the neighborhood?
Yeah, I saw a lot. But let me try to narrow it down. My friends Norman and Scott, they protected me a lot as a kid. Rocksteady and Zulu Nation.
Right.
I wasn't a member of either of those. You know what I mean? But
right. You were just on the outskirts.
Since first grade, these guys protected me.
But those were legendary New York gangs, right? Or is it a legendary New York gang?
Zulu was, it was also a legendary hip hop group. Like some people don't call it a gang; they call it like it's like a hip hop community. But well, shit, people didn't fuck with you a lot of times if you were in Zulu Nation. You know what I mean?
So like if you were in Zulu Nation, were they like hanging out at an abandoned warehouse with stolen TVs in it? Did it look like the Foot Clan? Like
Zulu, I mean, I was starring the Bronx, right? So it was definitely, that was old school. You see all those videos like The Message and, Planet Rock. Africa Bambaataa was like the leader of Zulu Nation. And, you see all that stuff. And my friends did like with leader of security for all that stuff. So they were tough since they were kids. They were always the toughest kid in the class, since fifth. I remember they just have respect from security at the school as kids. The adult security did not fuck with them. I remember 6th grade, I got in a fight, and this kid came up to me, this big-ass kid came up to me and put one of those little ketchup packets on the floor and just stomped on it, went all over my new Lees. Like, that was the days of breakdance days when I was breaking, Lees, La Tigre, a shell-top Adidas, right? And this was a day I bought the shell-top Adidas with the thick laces when they were really in. They were $44.99, most expensive sneaker on the market. You just do not wear that as this little Jewish kid coming into public school. I wore these brand new, they were like shining, and everyone was trying to rob me all fucking day. It was a nightmare. My boy Norman had to walk me around the school. This dude came up to me. I had my shell-top Adidas, right? I wore like a size 6. And this dude, the big brother, came up to me. He put his foot next to mine, and it was the exact same size as mine, though, right? He said, yo, what size you wear, kid? I'm like, I wear a 2. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you're lucky because I wear a 6. Right? And he walked off, but the shoe is the exact same size as mine. Right? I'm like, I don't know how I got out of that. So then Norman walked me around all day just to survive that day. I never could wear the sneakers out again to school.
It was
I
a
had to
waste.
get another,
Yeah.
I had to wear a new. But that day he slammed on the ketchup and it went all over my jeans. And I'm like, fuck, I got to say something now. I got to pretend I'm tough once again. I'm like, yo, and the classic line you say after that is, yo, you going to clean them shits off? You know? And he's like, nah, clean his shit off. I said, yo, come on, you got to clean that shit off, bro. He said, I'm going to clean his shit off, and pushed me. And then we started fighting. But somehow I felt like neither of us were throwing fists. I felt like it was like spazzy slap boxing, right? But he scratched my face with his nail. Like I had his long,
I was just
bloody...
about to say it was like basically a girl fight, and then you said scratch my face.
Yeah, it was basically a girl fight, right? So he scratched my face, but my face was like bleeding a lot, you know? And this kid, Alan, I remember, went up to him and we're walking off. He said, dude, better be careful, bro, because you probably get fucked up now. He said, what the fuck you talking about? He's like, you know, people didn't want to fuck with me because of the guys that were like my family, like these 2 guys, right?
Right.
So we walk into the school, we're right in the lobby, and then Norman comes out and just like a flying kick in his neck. And he falls down. He starts stomping him out in the corner, just fully giving him like an adult beatdown. Like his punches felt like adult punches, right? Because his older brother was a boxer. He fought the gloves and was a boxer, amateur boxer. I might have been pro. I don't remember. But I remember he was undefeated. And they taught them how to fight. They grew up fighting. So he beat the shit out of him. The security breaks it up. He's like, yo, Norm, what the fuck's going on, man? He said, yo, this was his excuse to get out of it. He said, yo, he stepped on my sneakers, right? He said that as that's why he was beating him down. And the security's like, oh, okay, well, just be careful next time. You know, no need for this. And he let Norman go.
Oh, God.
Right?
Nice.
So that was a funny story. And then his brother, Scott, in 2nd grade, when I first met him, this guy, we were playing dodgeball, and I grabbed the dodgeball, and I throw, they're playing, and it goes off the court. So I grab it to give it back to them kind of nicely, but I threw it a little too hard, kind of how I slammed the guy's door a little too hard. And they thought I was like trying to throw it at him. And he came up to me, and they all started bullying me, right? I remember it was a group of Dominican kids too, right? And they're bullying me. I'm like, God, you know, if they only knew who I'd be one day, you know, how much I would love the country, you know, they wouldn't have bullied. But he started pushing me.
They probably follow you.
Right. They probably follow me. We became friends later on, right? We were cool after this, but he's pushing me. And then I started crying like a bitch because there was like 10 people like bullying me, screaming at me. And then Scotty saw me crying. He was in 3rd grade then. I was in 2nd. And he was doing martial arts since he was like born, right? So he sees me crying. I said, what happened? I said, yo, they just whatever. So he goes up to the guy that bullied me. He did one of these, which you don't do when you're a kid. Even as an adult, like you always heard this was like a death hit when you do this to someone's head.
Yeah.
Right? When you're young, I don't know what that can cause now, but you know, we always thought that was like the death shot. So he goes up to him and he
probably just pops your ears and disorients you.
Right, but that's what he does to him. And he did like a little this and fell down to the ground. He's like, never, ever fuck with Jason again. All you need to know, you fuck with him, you fuck with me. That's all you need to know. You know, boom, and he walks off, right? And so no one ever fucked me again. They all apologized and everything. Because, you know, since a kid, like even in 6th grade.
Who even speaks like that as a 3rd grader?
Yeah,
Where do you come from, dude?
Yeah, they
My
were
kid's 4 years old. I cannot imagine a kid in her grade or in grade 4. I can imagine a kid. We just had a birthday party. I can't imagine one of those kids going, "You never fucking talk." You fuck with him, you fuck with me. You'd be like, "Yo, get the fuck out of here, kid."
Yeah, and that's how they were, like that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe one day I get him on the show, but there's so many things like they can't even talk about.
So which one of those guys, was it Norman or Scotty, who was like 13 dating a woman?
Oh, Norman, man. Norman was a player, bro.
Yeah.
Norman was dating adults when he was a kid. Because he was, dude, I remember when I was like 12, and I'm walking down the street, and I saw him with his girlfriend who was probably 20, early 20s, with a stroller and her kid. And he's holding her hand. I'm like now you look back, like, how is this even accepted?
It's so ludicrous.
He said, "Hey, Jason, this is my girlfriend, blah, blah, blah." And, because, he was like this really good looking little kid. And he was so tough, but he was still kind of flamboyant as a kid. He'd walk around like in the winter with his shirt open, chest out, ripped. He had the golden tail. He was in Rocksteady Crew, so he was in the movie Flashdance, and that breakdance scene was like the scene that made breaking famous worldwide. He's the first kid that came out in that scene, doing the move. The guy with the umbrella came out and moved him around like a puppet. He was a star.
So he's like he's like a 13-year-old movie star / like martial artist. He's a legend in the streets. Right.
Yes. He's a full-on.
Yeah. Inspired Usher.
Maybe. I'm sure Usher knows who he is. Like all these guys.
No, you mean like just dating older people when he's a kid?
Oh, right. Right.
Yeah, not the moves.
Yeah. So that's hilarious. So he had adult like girlfriend. I heard he was like, his manager, and everything. Like he was just fucking, everyone. He was crazy. And he always had money with him when he was like 12, 13, because he was touring the world breakdancing. His brother was doing the Zulu Nation thing. And they were a unique family. You walk down the street with him, he was definitely a New York City full-on legend, and
wow.
And we just grew up. We were friends since first grade. We were doing this broad jump contest, and I remember I only jumped like 2 feet, and he jumped 7 feet in first grade. And super athletic, best athlete in the class every year. He won the fastest runner in New York City in like 3rd grade in the Mr. Peanuts. Always the best fighter in the class. Probably fucks the best
who is
too.
he? What did he grow up to do?
He's a teacher now. He became dean of his school, teacher.
Oh, okay.
Fucking, he's like, does all positive things.
Did this kid peak young?
Right, but he's super positive. Like he's like, you know, and he never, he's just his good karma. He's always protected everyone. He was super protective over me. I'd be in the yard in school and see him sometimes just standing behind something, sitting there watching me, like, wait till someone fuck with me.
Yeah.
You know
He's
what
like, I gotta protect this little runt.
Exactly, man. It was crazy how they protected me. Like they were like, and then my 5th grade yearbook where it says hero, where you write like Superman, your favorite hero, or Batman. I wrote Norman. I wish I had it here to show.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were paying that forward. You're like, I might need this guy for a couple more years.
Yeah.
It's like that movie, My Bodyguard, with Matt.
I always
Dillon.
say that reminds me of Norman, My Bodyguard. I love that movie because of that. It really reminds me of that situation. Except no one bullied Norman. Like they bullied that bodyguard to make him finally.
Yeah.
No one bullied those two guys. I remember once there was a store where I was with him once in Amsterdam, and we're walking and we're just walking. Everyone's drunk and everything. And then this guy starts fucking with us, like cracking us, something. He's coming up to all of us. And like a lot of gang members are with this whole group. I'm on my bike. I'm just so intrigued by everything. Like I shouldn't be hanging out just to see what's going to happen. And the guy comes up and he's fucking with us too much. He's like, yo, man, I want to fuck you guys. They start saying, like, all this gay stuff. And this guy's like, yo, how about, he said, you want to get fucked by me? He said, yeah, man. Yeah. And this guy's like, look, I'm going to shake your hand, then you're going to leave. And they go to shake hands, and Scott punches him in the face and knocks him to the ground and just starts doing these flying kicks, like having fun with the beatdown. Like, you know what I mean? Like concentrating on poses in the air, like destroy fuck this dude up. And then the guy starts stalking us, like face gushing, blood, everything, like walking behind us for like 10 blocks. And then they finally, somehow he disappeared. I was petrified. And then all these crackheads were all over the neighborhood, and they started crack bashing, like just clearing the streets of crackheads, like doing these crazy shit. I mean, I can't even talk about the rest of the story, bro. The guys I know, I don't really want to mention any more names, but the guy, so they're going nuts. Yeah. And they're throwing the police.
So you're talking about, so it's not the police that are clearing these crackheads. It's like local people who are like, we got to get these people out of here. So the crack bashing, that wasn't like a cop initiative. That was a neighborhood watch type
neighborhood watch. Hit him with one of those police blockades, those long blue ones. Yeah. Say crack bashing, like I think this is scream crack bashing. Hit him. The neighborhood was clear within a half hour. Rumor got out. And then all the cops surrounded us, like 3 cop cars with sirens, and I'm right in the middle of it. I'm like, what the fuck? This is what I get for being nosy. And they're like, what's going on? They're like, we're just crack bashing. The cops are like, guys, leave that to us. Okay? Stop. No. Just leave it to us. Like, and they didn't arrest anyone. And then they drove off. I mean, these were violent beatdowns.
Yeah. I like the cops are like, guys, we get where you're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're taking away our jobs.
I remember I got jumped once. So I'm just telling so many bitch stories. So I'm hanging out with this, walking down the street, and there's this like a Italian guy I know, who I don't know if he was ever in the mob or not. He definitely acted like he was. But they're telling us a story about how these 2 guys just tried to rob their car. And they caught him, and they gave him like a quick beat down. Right? Was it contagious that quick, bro?
Yeah.
You got my cold already?
Yeah.
Everybody but me.
So they just beat him down. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then they're like, then they said they're gonna come back for us. I'm like, oh, really? Like I'm so into the story, I'm not thinking like, oh, they're gonna come back and I'm here, and I'm gonna get fucked up too, right? So before you know it, these 2 big dudes come walking, and I'm like, I hope those aren't them, and they pass by. So we still keep talking, and then all of a sudden, I get hit in the head, which I found out from my boy. It was a nightstick, one of those police nightsticks, hit me in the back of my head, right? I'm fully dizzy, and he hits me, and the other 2 guys come and punch me in the face. So now it's like fucking 3 Stooges, like going back and forth, right? I'm so out of it, I act like I'm knocked out now, kind of by a tree, right? Because I'm so dizzy. Yeah. So I don't know how I didn't get knocked out by the nightstick, right? So I'm laying there, and then all of a sudden, I go to peek a little bit. I hear the fight going on. I go to peek, and all I see is that little Nike symbol, right? And then I get kicked in the face, right? So now I'm like really laying there. Now I'm like, boom, and I hear someone, I see a dude stab a dude with a huge machete. One of the guys with. Cuts his whole arm up. I'm like, fuck that. I run into the little Korean deli right there. I go to the back, and there's like a guy cleaning the vegetables in the staircase. He's like, you can't come down here, And then I hear a gunshot, and I hear dude screaming in super pain. I'm like, yo, fuck that. And I run down the stairs, right? This guy was just screaming like crazy. A guy got shot. So I waited there maybe like a minute, because the guys that shot him left. I knew they'd leave after that. I go outside, the dude's laying in the street shivering. They held him down and shot him with a 25. And supposedly that gun, the bullet like goes through your body, like moves around. Like you're almost better off getting shot by a bigger gun, because it'll go through you. Those bullets, like, playing pinball with your organs. So they came back and shot him and stabbed him. And I heard the next day they walked right past, the Italian guy said they walked right past the store. And I said, what's up? We good? He's like, yeah, we're good. Like they never got arrested or anything. And the guy survived. Wow. They got shot. He was into the hospital for a day or 2. He survived it. But yeah, that was crazy. I had a huge knot on my head from that, and a swollen lip. But that was a solid jump story.
It's amazing your parents had never like at one point would be like, maybe this city's too much for us.
Yeah, I don't know if I told him that story. But yeah, there's so many crazy. Yeah, I know. A lot of crazy shit happened. I'm lucky to survive it all, you know?
Yeah.
And I have friends that grew up in worse areas than me. A friend grew up like right uptown and near Harlem, and nothing ever happened to him. But I don't think he hung out like I did. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I was always, when I was breakdancing, I was always in the projects practicing and dancing, and I like wandering at night. I just liked the action. So I was putting myself in trouble all the time. You know? It was
So
crazy.
when you went to, because you went to like a crazy art school, right?
LaGuardia, Fame School,
LaGuardia
Performing
was-
Arts.
Oh, so LaGuardia Performing Arts is a famous art school? I thought you went to like Juilliard's or something like that.
I went to School of American Ballet,
Okay.
which
Okay.
was like the Harvard of ballet schools. It's not even academic. It's just aside from your academics.
Oh,
like-
so is that where you saw like Ivanka Trump or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah, Night at the Nutcracker at Lincoln Center. I used to do the Bed Boy, which is in the Nutcracker. It goes around the stage, and it looks magical, like it's a remote control, but it's just some loser with knee pads under it trying to get in the company, trying to kiss ass.
Yeah.
So I did like 51 Nutcrackers. And one night I'm at the Nutcracker. I also handed out flowers to the lead ballerinas. You wear your little tux, and at the end of the show, you hand it out. So I'm there one night handing out flowers. I did my flowers. Or I wasn't doing flowers. I was just hanging out to watch. And I'm there, and I see Donald Trump there because Ivanka went to my ballet school.
Right.
And Macaulay Culkin went to my ballet school. That's how you say his name, right? I don't know how to say his name correctly. And
Macaulay
then,
Culkin? Yeah.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin. And so Donald Trump was a donor to the school. That's probably how he got Ivanka in. Because I don't think she was that great as a kid. I think she even was like, didn't have the typical thin ballet body that they want.
Right. You said she looked like a potato, right?
No, I don't think she was fat, but I think she had a little puffy, like normal girl cheeks
Sure.
that don't
Right.
fall off.
Right.
And I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
people saying, she only got in. She definitely didn't get in for her talent,
Right.
But maybe she was okay. I don't know. You know what I mean? So anyway,
Did you at least beat anybody up at that school?
did I beat it? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I fucked this dude up in that school. So I beat everyone in arm wrestling. I was really good at arm wrestling as a kid. I beat all the adults when I was 16 in the company. Everyone that challenged me, no one could beat me in arm wrestling when I was a kid. Then I fucked my shoulder up and I lost all that. I was really good at arm wrestling. But that's not the fight story. I got one fight story. This dude in the locker room started like saying shit to me and bullying me, and then he started like pushing me, and I started pushing him. And we were having a pushing contest. I threw him over the wood bench right into the locker, slammed his head on the ground. It was holding him. I said, what fucking, whatever. That's all the fight went. And there was another time, there's one kid there. He kept making fun of my injuries because I got injured at a boxing gym. I was going to a boxing gym for like 4 months, right? So they fucked my wrist up. And, but I want to test my 4 months, I'm ready. So this guy's making fun. I go to shake. I was like, don't squeeze my hand hard, bro. My wrist is fucked up. And he said, oh, is that the frail wrist? So he said something. I'm like, dude, because I was injured in dance at this point. I knew I had to quit ballet soon. I was depressed. That's why I went to the boxing gym, because I was like, I need to get out of my head. So he's like, I'm like, yo, I just went crazy. I said, yo, motherfucker, say one more thing. I'm going to knock you the fuck out right now. We're in the locker room. Everyone's there. He said, whatever, man. And I said, no, say one word. I'm going to knock you the fuck out. I'm just waiting to test my 4 months. He's like, whatever. You used to be so nice, Jason. I said, I'm still nice, but I fucking hate you. And I'm going to knock you the fuck out. It felt good. I punked him out. Whatever. I'll tell you my toughest story in a minute. I actually did something very tough, but it wasn't because I wanted to, it was I had to save my life. So where am I going right now? I just cut the story off.
You punched the kid out in
Oh,
ballet.
no, you're talking about Trump. I'm backstage, and I see Trump on the other side and all the ballerinas around him. And I'm like, why are they around him? Like, no one likes him here. Everyone used to talk shit, So I go around, and Trump, they're not looking at Trump. They're looking over his shoulder, and about 4 feet away from me is Michael Jackson, just standing right there. Everyone's a Michael fan. This was 89, so he still was, pretty black. And he had a Band-Aid on his face, I remember. And he was maybe like 6, 7 nose jobs in. Like, he still looked pretty good,
Yeah.
He's picking up Macaulay Culkin from school.
Well, that's the night they met.
Oh, no
That's
shit.
yeah.
Date
That's the-
night.
Yeah, that's the night they met. I don't know if it was a dating site, right, or if they just met, coincidentally. So we're
Yeah.
backstage, and I'm like, holy shit! I asked Michael for his autograph. He gives me the autograph. This real tough Irish union guy. I said, "Can I get your autograph?" And the union guy, "You could use my back to sign it, Michael." He bent over, and he signed it.
way.
Yeah. So before this happened, I was backstage with Macaulay Culkin. His mom asked me to babysit him for like a little bit while she went on to do so. So we're playing poker. And he's telling me about this movie he just filmed. He already did Uncle Buck at that time. He was already known, but not super famous. He's like, yeah, it's called Home Alone. It's coming out soon. It's coming out soon. So, so that was that. And I saw in a podcast, Macaulay Culkin talked about the night he met Michael Jackson was the night at the Nutcracker, and they became good friends. And Ivanka, when Trump first got elected in the first election, she posted a picture of her in the Nutcracker saying this was a night my dad brought Michael Jackson to surprise me for my birthday. It was her birthday that day. It's kind of an iconic night to get the autograph,
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
pretty crazy. Yeah, that's cool.
So, that was that. I mean, there's a funny dance fight story where this gay guy had a crush on me in high school. Got in a fight with this other gay guy because he was frustrated that he used to follow me to the pizza shop every day. And I'll call the gay guy Steve for now, out of respect to him. We're still cool. All the ballet pictures I still have were taken by him when he used to stalk me in school and hide and take them. And we met like 10 years after high school. He told me I had pictures. I'm like, now great, I have ballet pictures. So the first time I met him was in high school. I was only a freshman. And he was a senior, and he came up to me and he gave me this like invitation, this letter. He gave it to me, and I was like, went to my boy. I said, yo, this dude invited me to like a party or some shit, bro. He's like a senior too, And I opened up and it says, all excited, it says, Dear Jason, every time I watch you in ballet class, it tickles my fancy. You are hot, all this shit. I'm like, fuck, this is not the party I want to go to.
It's a
You know what I mean? And this is where I should have knew
Yeah.
my friend was probably gay. Because you know what he says? He goes,
What?
dude, you should probably think about it. He is a senior. You know what I mean? Like, what does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, this guy's going to be cracking off some nuts.
Does it still make it straight because I sucked a senior's dick? Like, am I still good?
Yeah.
So we, this guy kept following me, whatever, at the pizza shop. And there was a thugged out guy named you know what? I'll just say Jeffrey. I'll say his name. He was Jeffrey, right? And he became friends with me because I remember we had beef with these kids from the projects at one point because we were snapping on them by Lincoln Center. I was going off on these girls that were snapping on my god sister and everything. And we're going back and forth and I'm destroying them, right? Having everyone laughing. They went back and got everyone from the projects. And all of a sudden I see about 100 dudes coming with bats from the projects. We run to Tower Records and we're just hiding at Tower Records. They're waiting outside, slamming the mailbox, everything, waiting for us. And they ended up knocking out my friend that Monday. And I was sick, luckily. On Monday, I didn't go to school, and they knocked him out. I escaped that knockout. So we had beef with them in the project. I remember seeing these two gay guys that were in my dance class. They were in Madonna's Vogue video. This guy, Jose and Lewis, he was their main Voguer for Madonna. He choreographed like the video, the Vogue. They were on tour. They're voguing legends. But they introduced me to these thugged out gay guys that came by the school, and he's bopping towards me like this, and I'm like, yo, I need this
way
type
before Omar from The Wire, right? Like this is
Yeah, it's
right.
Tupac Shakur.
So it's kind of, but yeah, it's kind of like they looked 100% thugged out. I mean, one of them had his hair greased back, all the shit. I remember he said when the guys had beef from the projects, he said, I'm ready for those motherfuckers. They could come at me. I'm ready for those motherfuckers. And he pulled his hand out and he had a razor blade in each knuckle, like in between each finger. These motherfuckers are going to get a slice, right? So they're just nightmare, right? So then this guy was like, he came up and like, oh, this is a cool dude to meet. He looks thugged out. He's like, what's up? How you doing? I'm Jeffrey. What's up? I'm like, all right, I guess this will still do, right? As a new like kind of friend, right? So then he never tried to fuck me, this dude. We're at the pizza shop.
Didn't have to try.
You didn't have to try, bitch. All voluntary. So he's at the pizza shop and he goes to Brian. He's like, why you always following Jason? He don't like you. Why you following Jason? Whatever, right? And he's like, cause I follow him, whatever, you know. He's like one of those like, Giga too slow to even finish a sentence. He's like, cause I went downtown and I went uptown. And I was just cause I was just, you know, whatever, right? So he's like, I follow whoever I want, bitch. And he's like, I know you didn't just call me a bitch. And he chases him outside and he smacks Bryant so hard. Well, I already said his name, whatever, fucked up. So anyway, he smacks him so hard
We can edit.
in the face. You know what I mean? And with one hand, he had like 10 fingerprints on his face, right? But he was so mad, he pulls out mace. I look close up, it was actually a dog repellent. He said, let's see who the bitch is now. Oh, this is Brian. Jeffrey smacked him. He said, let's see who the bitch is now. He sprays him, and he falls to the ground like the wicked bitch of the West, right? He's just like falling, he's like, ah!
Because he got sprayed?
Yeah, he sprayed the tough guy, right? The guy who was following me sprayed him. And he gets back up and he goes like this. He's like, bitch, mace will not penetrate. Oh, no, he says this later. I don't want to fuck up the story. So he gets back up. Does he say it then? No, he just gets up and starts to chase him on like an upward, you know, with like down the block with like arm on an upward 45-degree angle. Brian is on a low 45 because it's more aerodynamic. You know what I mean? He's like, whatever, bitch. Mate, he's like, you're all in the mustard and you can't catch up, bitch, right? They're saying funny lines to each other. I can't catch up. How come I'm behind, bitch? He's like, cause you a fat bitch. It's like, he said, I'm only joking. You're in perfect shape of a circle, right? And I remember they said some other shit. And they get there and he hits him in the face with like 52 open-handed gay palm strikes to the face. And Brian was okay. His 52 open-handed gay palm strikes is equivalent to one hetero punch, right? And then Jeffrey gets up and is like, bitch, this is verbatim. Everything's verbatim. I'm telling you the true story, right? And he's like, my name is Jeffrey LaBeija, and the sun never sets on a LaBeija. And by the way, mace will not penetrate cocoa butter, bitch. And he kicks his leg up and walks off, bro.
Oh, that's epic.
And it's my friend, I'm cool with the guy that got fucked up. And he's like, this is like a nightmare situation, like a horrible memory for him, you know?
Yeah. But it's so funny all along the way.
Great story to us.
I mean, it's a great story. You know what I'm saying?
So
but
funny.
It's just, it was crazy. And right there were some famous Vogers were watching this whole fight. You know, I remember Jose was there. This guy Aldona was there. And, that was a funny story right there.
Dude. We should really try and get an episode of gay fights, man. Just like really hilarious
there's gotta be
gay fights. They gotta be the best. You know?
You get some thugged out gay dude from the hood.
Yeah,
they
gay
got
guys
the
who
best.
are just talking shit to each other while it's all going down. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
We should swap out a couple gay guys to host for us. Guest host.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. For Pride Month.
Yeah.
I think it's illegal in America now, but anyway.
Yeah, just put behind John Pride stories.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh shit. All right. Well, we've been burning for an hour, man. I know we can keep talking, but let
me see if this. Yeah, I like to.
Yeah, we gotta have you on a live one too when we record.
A couple live ones in New York.
Yeah, let's do a live one, man. It's way better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, of course.
No, that was great, man. Thanks so much for being on the show with us. Awesome
thanks,
stories.
guys. I got plenty more of those to come. Plenty more
Amazing.
fun stories. But...
So anything to plug? I mean, other than like Instagram and all that stuff?
Not really. You could just follow me on my social media. It's the same. It's El Tigre Vacano. It says Vacano on the bottom of the shirt. El Tigre.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll tag it up in the Vacano.
Follow him on social media, and he'll be on the next season of 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah. It's all in Spanish, but at least you'll see if I post them in your town. All my stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I don't have any
midgets,
fights in the Dominican Republic. No, I remember the first time I met. Like I said, way more stuff for me has happened in New York, more dangerous in New York. I feel relatively safe in DR, like because I know how to handle it there.
Yeah,
there's not that many crazy people they got here. Way more normal people in reality there than here. But I remember when I first went there though, with this girl I was dating like 2006. I'm in front of her house and I'm like, it's culture shock to me. I'm just there and it was kind of in the hood out there. We hear an argument outside. Her dad has his car double parked, like parked in front. And I go to peek out the window, and I see this dude literally slam a TV over the guy's head. The guy's head went through the TV. The TV is like it was like a cartoon fight, bro. The TV was around his neck. His head was out of the TV, and he's still arguing with the dude with the whole TV through him. A little blood, fine. And the dad just walked out in between it all. Excuse me, and went in the car and parked the car inside in the garage. Yeah. When the fights I've seen online, a couple fights in DR, it always seems like no one ever actually gets hurt. Like the tolerance for pain out there, like the shit hit with benches, everything. It seems like they just walk away from the fight. Like they don't even go to the hospital.
Yeah, well, also that TV's probably not a Sony.
It was probably one of those old school black and white heavy ass.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
a box TV.
Black screens. Yeah, it was a box TV. Like you had to go. It was like trying to go through the earth to China. That's how deep that TV was, bro.
Yeah. Oh,
need a couple guys to move it.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah.
Right
on.
All
right, buddy. Well, thanks for doing it, dude.
Yeah,
all
thanks,
right,
man.
guys.
All right, later, boy.
That was fun. All right, peace.
Yeah, hell yeah. Later.
Later, guys.